let's get our posters set up first. We're going to set up a document that is 11 by 17 inches and keep your resolution 150 pixels per inch. Then press create. All right, this is going to be the background of our poster. So the first thing that I want you to do is go out to your internet tab. I'm going to go through Safari, find a picture of the band that you want to work with. You need a minimum of 1 photo, but you can use as many as you want. Some students like collages, or some do arrangements in grids. Whatever you want to do is fine. You just need to drag at least 1 in from the internet. Right click on it, copy image, head back over to Photoshop and press Command+V to paste. I'm going to use my transform tool, Command+T, to scale this picture up a little bit. I think I'm going to keep them at the bottom because of the way the picture cuts off. And I'm going to get rid of my background here, the green. And I'm going to put words at the top. So it might look a little empty now. I can always rearrange it later, but I'm going to leave it as is for now. All right, next, I'm going to get rid of my background. And if you don't feel like using your selection tools that we typically do use, there's a shortcut built into Photoshop, and it's a fairly new feature over here. With your photo layer selected, look at your properties panel, and then there's a remove background button under the quick actions section all the way at the bottom. So if you scroll this little scroll bar down, you'll find the remove background button. When you click this, Photoshop creates a layer mask automatically. You can see it's outlining the subjects here, so I can see the subjects and no longer see the background. Their hair is a little green from the background, but I can work with that. So if you want to use this step, you don't have to, but I would encourage you to remove the background and isolate just the subjects. If you don't see your properties panel, as always, you can look under the window menu until you find it, and it should pop out on the right side of your screen. All right, next, we are going to add an adjustment layer that has a gradient map on it. So at the bottom of the layers panel, click this circle, and then gradient map. By default, Photoshop brought up a black to white gradient blend. If you click on the actual gradient, it brings up all the preset colors. I'm gonna go with this one. Notice that all the colors are inverted. I can fix this in a second, but I do like these colors that it's working with. So I'm gonna press OK. And then in this menu, if you click reverse, it flips your values. Right now, the darkest values are being replaced with this peach color, but I want them to be replaced with purple. So if I click reverse, it flips all the colors. Ah, that looks so much better. It looks a lot more natural. So we're going to leave it like this. All right, good. Let's add a clipping mask onto the gradient map. What this is going to do is it's going to snap the color onto just the band members, just the subject of this picture. So it'll only put it around them. You'll no longer see it on the background. Okay, my background is still white, but the gradient map is making it look pink. So if you right click on the empty space in this layer, you should see an option in this menu that says create clipping mask. And now you can see that the color has snapped just onto the people in my image and not onto the background. We'll come back and do the background in a minute. Let's go into our filter menu, and we're going to add some filter effects to the image just to distress it a little bit, gives it a little more visual texture. I'm going to select layer 1. I'm going to go up to filter, and then you have a bunch of options. The filter gallery has the most options in one place, and you can preview what they're doing to your photo. If you go down this menu, there are other options. They show up in other little menus. The noise settings might work well. Noise looks like static almost in your pictures. I think some of them might be a little too abstract. It might mess up the quality of the image. So let's start in the filter gallery. All right, underneath the sketch menu, you'll notice all of these folders have little drop-down buttons. If you expand them, under sketch, halftone works really well. Halftone, those dots are what we see in comic books to shade different areas of color. You can adjust the size of the dots if you want them larger or smaller. You can adjust the amount of contrast it's adding to the image. And you can also change the style of it. I like the dots, but they also have circles. They also have lines. The lines kind of look like static too on a TV. You can go through and try any of the filters that are in here. There's a bunch. Halftone works well. Under texture, grain is also a good one. Grain makes things look a little bit noisy as well. A little bit of static on there. Almost dusty. So I'm going to start with halftones. I like the dots. I'm going to make the dots a little bit larger so I can see them. And remember, this looks like there's no color right now. I have a gradient map on it. It'll be okay. There we go. So when I press OK, if I zoom in a little bit, you can see those halftone dots here. So these posters, depending on how much of each effect you add, some of them might end up looking like a photocopied poster at the end, which is a cool stylistic technique. So if that's what you're interested in, halftone works well for that. All right, let's change the background color. I'm going to use my little eyedropper tool. I just hit I on my keyboard. And I'm just going to test out a couple colors. Option+Delete with my background layer selected. Option+Delete is my paint bucket. His hair kind of blends in there. Their hair kind of blends in now. I'm not sure what color is going to work the best for this. I kind of like the darker values, so let me pull this even darker to differentiate. Maybe. I might come back to it. I think it might need to be a little more purple. But just so there's a little more contrast. All right, so now this is coming along. We have a filter, we have a gradient map, we've removed our background. Now I'm gonna bring in some text. So I wanna put Green Day's name above this image. So over on your internet browser, go to duffont.com. This is my favorite font website. There's a ton of free fonts for personal use. And as you're looking for a font, I do want you to start to think about what kind of vibe or what kind of music does the musician have that you're working with. So I'm going to go into maybe distorted for mine. If you're using a heavy metal band, maybe don't use like a really nice cursive brush writing. It probably won't fit well with the band. If you click on any font, you can also preview what you want the font to say. So you could see the text before you install it and go through the hassle of downloading a new font. I'm happy with this one. This one's called Panic. So when it downloads onto your computer, that's still going to be the name of the font. I'm going to click download. In my downloads folder, I'm going to open up the text file. It should have a TTF extension. And then click install font. These are other fonts that I've downloaded. All right, this is called Panic Regular. So once your font is installed, head back over into Photoshop and open up your type tool. That's the T in your toolbar. I'm gonna make sure before I add text that it's on a new layer. Put it above your gradient map or else you might not see your text. And I'm also gonna I'll just make it white for now so I can see it on the navy blue background. Draw a text box. There we go. Over here, select your font. Mine is called Panic. It's right here at the top. Yours might be alphabetically organized. So just go through your font list, find the one you want. All right. And now I'm going to start to arrange my text. I'm definitely going to change the color. I'm not loving the white. I think I should pull one of these colors. Kind of like that, the peachy color. And this font actually already has a halftone effect in it. That's one of the reasons why I liked it. If you'd like to add more texture into the font that you selected, you can select the text layer, open up your filter gallery, and add more to it. It's going to ask you to convert it to a smart object. So just click yes, click convert. And that just protects the font so you could go back and edit it later if you wanted to. Maybe I'll add a little bit of grain. I don't want it to be too much because it might take away from that halftone texture that's already there. But a little bit, it might distress it a little bit more. Yep, you can see there's a little bit more of a roughness to the letters, so that's kind of cool. So play around with your filters, play around with the colors. Definitely adjust this to your liking as you go. Like, you can always adjust the gradient map at any time. You can go back, nothing's permanent. I kind of like the purple. So I think I'll leave it as is for now. And this is as far as we got in part 1 of our band posters.